The Kryven Dominion had fought for 11,000 years. In all that time, they had never lost a war. Their strategy was simple. Overwhelming force, applied without mercy, until the enemy's will broke. It always broke. Every species they'd ever encountered understood, sooner or later, that surrender was survival. Pride was a luxury for the living. The dead had none. So when the Dominion turned its attention to a small, wet, backwater planet called Earth, they expected the usual pattern. Show of force, brief resistance, formal surrender within a season. Took 4 years. 4 years of grinding, brutal, planet-scarring war. 4 years of watching human fleets, cobbled together from scrap and stubbornness, punch far above their weight. 4 years of losing admirals who had never lost anything in their lives. But eventually the numbers won. They always did. The Dominion's 12th Fleet broke through Earth's outer defenses, and on a gray morning over what humans called Geneva, a ceasefire was signed. The Dominion had won. Fleet Marshal Threx Kalorin stood aboard his flagship, watching the surrender broadcast ripple across 1,000 systems. Colonies raised toasts. Soldiers who had never seen combat fired ceremonial weapons into the sky. On the Dominion homeworld, children were given the day off school. Earth had fallen. The last major holdout humbled at last. Threx allowed himself, for the first time in 4 years, to breathe. That was when his communications officer, a young Kryven named Sela, approached his chair with an expression he didn't recognize. Not fear. Not triumph. Something closer to confusion. "Marshal," she said, "we're receiving a transmission. From Earth. Human High Command. Play it." The screen flickered to life. A woman appeared. Not a general, not a president, but someone in a simple gray uniform, standing in what looked like an ordinary office. Behind her, through a window, the city continued its business. People walking, traffic moving, no panic, no mourning. That struck Threx first. A conquered people should look conquered. "Fleet Marshal Kalorin," the woman said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "I'm Director Amara Osei, United Earth Coordination Office. I wanted to reach out personally, now that the ceasefire's signed." "You are calling to discuss terms," Threx said. "Reparations. Resource allocation. This is expected." "No," Amara said. "I'm calling to congratulate you." Threx paused. On the bridge behind him, officers exchanged glances. "You fought hard," Amara continued. "Harder than anyone we've faced. Your fleet earned this. I mean that sincerely. You are gracious for the defeated." Something flickered across her face. Not anger, not humiliation. Something almost like amusement quickly hidden. "Marshal, I should clarify something," she said. "This wasn't Earth's main fleet. This was our regional defense force, the ships we could spare while keeping our core industries running. We've been fighting you with roughly 30% of our actual military capacity for 4 years." The bridge went silent. "That is not possible," Threx said slowly. "Our intelligence." "Your intelligence was accurate as far as it went," Amara said. "You saw everything we showed you. Humans learned a long time ago that the enemy who knows your strength plans around it. The enemy who doesn't make mistakes." She paused. "You made several." Threx's claws tightened on the arm of his chair. "Then why surrender at all?" "Because war is expensive, Marshal. In lives, in resources, in years nobody gets back. We signed the ceasefire because it was the responsible thing to do, for both our peoples. Not because we couldn't have kept fighting. You expect me to believe this without proof." Amara smiled, and it wasn't cruel. It was almost sad. "I'm sending you a data packet now. Full manifests of our reserve fleet, the ships that never left orbit. Production capacity of our shipyards on Luna, Mars, and the Outer Belt. You'll want to verify it independently. Please do. I'd rather you trust facts than my word." The packet arrived. Threx opened it himself, hands moving across the console with the mechanical precision of 11,000 years of military discipline, slowly, quietly cracking. Ships, thousands of them, not deployed, not hidden in some clever trick, simply held back, docked and waiting because the humans had never needed them. Shipyards 3 times the size of anything Dominion intelligence had estimated. Weapons platforms still in testing. An entire second fleet, larger than the one that had just fought the Dominion to a bloody 4-year standstill, sitting quietly in reserve because Earth's commanders had judged it wasn't yet necessary to commit. Sella, beside him, whispered, "Marshal, this fleet alone outnumbers what we sent." Threx said nothing. He was looking at one line in the manifest, translated awkwardly by the ship systems. A project designation, still incomplete. Something the humans were building. Something bigger than anything currently deployed by either side. He looked back up at the screen, at Amara, still standing calm and unshaken in her quiet office. "Why?" he said, and for the first time in 11,000 years of Dominion history, a Fleet Marshal's voice cracked with something other than command. "Why would you hold this back? You could have ended the war in months. You could have crushed us." Amara's expression softened, and when she spoke, there was no triumph in it at all. Only weariness. Only something like compassion. Because crushing you wasn't the goal, Marshal. Winning wasn't even really the goal. We wanted this war to end with both our peoples still able to look at each other afterward. You fought with honor. Your soldiers believed they were protecting their home. We respected that, even while we opposed it. She leaned forward slightly. "We haven't even started yet, Marshal. Not really. What you fought was Earth being careful, being patient, trying to find a way to stop you without breaking you." She paused. "Now that the fighting's done, I hope we never have to show you what happens when we stop being careful." The transmission ended. Threx Kalorin sat in silence for a long moment, staring at a starfield that suddenly felt smaller than it had that morning. Around him, his crew, soldiers who had celebrated victory just hours before, stood equally still, equally silent, staring at manifests that rewrote everything they thought they understood about the war they had just won. Somewhere in the Dominion's core worlds, citizens were still celebrating in the streets. They didn't yet know what their Fleet Marshal now understood, standing alone on a silent bridge, staring at a species that had fought them to exhaustion using less than a third of its strength, and had still chosen mercy. That victory had never truly belonged to them at all. And for the first time, the galaxy understood what it truly meant to be human. If the story moved you, subscribe for more human stories from the stars.